everybody. The Nosferatu got arrested because he stuck a syringe into a hobo, so session's canceled.
Oh, we went with Vampire the Masquerade then.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I couldn't think of anything D&D related that we have done recently. So like, I was gonna say the Jedi crashed the V-Wing. I didn't feel like that was recent and I was too recent.
Doesn't need to be recent. I don't think that's a rule.
No, you're right. It's fair.
Sam, was it a hobo? I don't remember. I thought it was a cop.
Yes, you
It
killed a
most
hobo.
certainly was a hobo, yes.
No. You
All right,
knocked
wait,
the cop
we're getting distracted too early.
unconscious,
We're getting distracted too early.
and you
Okay.
killed the hobo.
No, this is an important tangent. Hold on, Sam. Who did he murder?
It
He
was
murdered
a
a
hobo.
hobo. He was a squatting hobo. Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He was squatting.
Just found him in a building and just threw a syringe.
All right, listen.
God.
When a vampire gotta eat, It just be like that sometimes.
No, he didn't need to eat though. He just we're getting distracted. No, done. I peeked the mic again. Fuck.
Hi. Is it distracted or is it
Welcome.
content?
I almost messed up again. Welcome to the Sessions Canceled podcast, where we're joined by Josh,
Hello, Tizar.
Matt,
Hello.
Sam,
Hey.
and me, your boy Isaiah, where we discuss anything and anything TTRPG related and or the dumb shit that we've done to murder innocent civilians in the games that we play.
I resent
want
that
you to
I'm not very
know-
murder hobo-y.
I want you to know that we didn't even last a minute until the first tangent.
No, we didn't.
Correct. We
okay.
started
New
on
record.
point
There
zero.
is. It's been a few
It was-
months of like
it was pretty good.
building to get back into it. We've been on a bit of a hiatus because one of our boys moved.
Not that the internet will know that.
No, it's fine.
No time will have passed in the internet land, but it has for us.
So, to get back into it, I figured, because I sort of covered this, and I know Sam said something, and I'm not sure if the rest of you said something, but
I sort of answered.
you sort of answered? Okay. So the thing that I wanted to bring up today was what aspect of role-playing, playing, building, advancing a character do you enjoy the most?
No. It's the serotonin button.
Yes, what rustles you jimmies, what chaps you khakis, what gives you a sweet crest of the undercarriage.
Delicious. No.
What?
I hate that one. That
Comes to the
one.
undercarriage.
Brett,
Nope.
you know what to do.
God, a bingus. So yeah,
Ugh.
I was kind of curious because, like I said, I know that I kind of went into it. I sort of spoiled it, 8 weeks early, but it's fine. I have other things I want to say, and I don't think that I want to start because I think I've already said something, and I guess I'll just extrapolate on my point later. But we'll start.
you're gonna have to reiterate. Yeah.
Fair enough. All right. So
Been long enough for us.
Yeah, exactly.
So I believe what I said last time we recorded was my favorite part of playing a character is, or the thing that hits that sweet serotonin when I play a character is thinking about like the minutia around how I will flavor things, how I'll roleplay things, what specific things that makes the character unique. So I believe I brought up, I have a wizard that I've played for a while that like I invented like a flavorized magic system around like specific wording of incantations and colors and shit. And then I brought the super weeb samurai man that uses like different attacks from old samurai movies like Zatoichi's Flash Cut or Ogami Ito's Wave Slicer or Musashi's.
Or if you want to be a modern weeb, any of the Demon Slayer techniques.
Yeah, any of the Demon Slayer techniques.
That vibe.
So tangenting. I used to think those were
Waterfall
so fucking stupid because they weren't actually doing anything. And then I rewatched Demon Slayer like 6 months ago and I was like, wait, these are kind of lit. Hold on.
What do you mean they weren't doing anything?
Yeah, they
are
flip in the
doing
air and
things.
everything. They
there's no
summon
magic.
the elements.
What
do you mean?
No, they don't though. Except for maybe Zenitsu. They don't though. Like,
Yeah, so that's a whole thing with Demon Slayer, Matt, is all the like effects and elements and stuff we're seeing on screen is not what's actually happening.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
I know,
like
but my head canon
for
that
the
it's
audience.
happening. It's actually happening. That's my head canon. That's what I want. So therefore, it is.
That's
Sure.
okay, Matt. You're allowed to be wrong.
sure,
Thanks.
anything that lets you live
Ding dong.
happily in your
Your
fantasy
opinion
romance.
is wrong.
I wanted to sort of build on that previous point on something that gets me really hype, and it's when I can make the flavor work with the mechanics, I also get really excited. So like
When the steak really complements the sides.
pretty much, yeah. So like what's I'm trying to think of like the so like
I mean, Django.
yeah, well this is kind of a spoiler.
All of
because-
Django.
All of Django, yeah. So kind of a spoiler, my Artificer armor just hit level 9 last session, and I finally have access to 3rd level spells. So I have haste, baby. And I was super hyped to be like, I wanted my Artificer to have a sicko mode because that's my favorite part of any class or subclass. If you can go sicko mode, I am like 60% more likely to play that class. So like Barbarian Rage, Undead Form of Dread, I'm trying to think of some other good one. Like
so basically some sort of transformation that makes them like, you know.
As a kid who really, really fucking loved Transformers, I also love transformation mechanics and sicko modes.
Same.
So, and bonus points if your sicko mode is your evil dark inside that you can't control. Big fan of that one.
Yes,
big fan.
Edge.
Big fan of the like
Man,
the
I wonder
hollow
why
in
you like
Ichigo's
Dark Knight so
body,
much.
the Jinchuriki in Naruto, Inuyasha's demon dog thing, like any of that shit. All about it.
By day, I'm mild-mannered Matt, but by night, I am Percy Glackman. Out on the streets.
I don't
No,
know.
see that one I don't like because it's you, and I just Matt.
Wow.
How you gonna do
know,
like that?
I do like that.
This is worse than you saying you're not going to read anything he says.
That's a good bit, and I'm not letting it die.
Yeah,
it's a good bit.
So like in my head for Django, like I always wanted him to have like it's so edgy to say, but like an overclock mode, like it's time to go buck wild mode. So the fact that like I can in my head visualize, you know, the Tron style LEDs that go across his body, like glowing brighter, and like the engines revving up sort of sound. I don't think anyone here has watched the movie Promare, which is a great film. Would recommend. There's a bit.
You told me about it 600 million times.
I won't shut up about it because it's such a good movie. But like when the character has like he has like a mech sort of thing, and it gets like a second armor form. And just the idea of like it like revving up and the armor exploding off and it getting a new suit of armor and like the music kicks in, like I want that. And I was joking with Sam because whenever Sam does his Form of Dread and we joke that he's going hollow, I have a soundboard and I'll always play that like one song that always plays in Bleach when someone goes sicko mode. And me and Sam were joking that like our boss music is gonna overlap and the bad guy's like, oh god, what the fuck is that? That's awful. That's terrible.
Oh, the boss music is awful now. I hate it. Go back.
And just like our characters are not aware of each other's boss music, or our own boss music. So when like the boss walks in and we hear the boss music and then like each other's music, we're like, oh god, is that what everyone else hears? Fuck, that's terrible.
Wait, what's Django's boss music though?
I was jokingly saying it was probably going to be music from Promare or just like BFG Division because that was our joke for like the first 12 sessions.
Oh, that was the joke. Yeah, it was BFG for Django. That's right. Oh fuck, that
I've
song's
stopped
great.
using BFG so much because Django like has a personality mode. He doesn't have like passive stun and kill anymore. Like there's some more nuance to it.
Can it be the Iron Man theme song from the Iron Man 3D cartoon from Nickelodeon?
That's a good song. I rewatched Armored Adventures over the summer or the summer.
Yeah, that was good. That was a sick show.
Lockdown.
It was
Or
a
good job.
decent show. It was surprisingly good for what it looked like and everything. It was a hideous show, but it was surprisingly good.
It is what it is, eh?
Yeah, I did not like the art direction of that, but you know.
Like Stormhawks, it looked like garbage, but it was pretty sick.
Yeah. You know, it's kind of funny actually that you mention it. I'm surprised Armor Artificer doesn't have a sicko mode built in, because I feel like that's always a thing with like mech and or armor stuff.
It is. It really is. Like
It's kind of surprising it's not there.
Like, you know, Gundam Unicorn has Psycho mode, Ava Unit 1 has Berserker Stayed, and the Nirvash, if anyone ever watched Rekka 7, you should watch it, has the 7 Swell. It is a pretty, like, iconic thing in mecha series, but I guess the idea is that the armor is not as much of a mecha, or as much as it is, you are Iron Man. You know,
right, but even Iron Man kind of has some sicko mode stuff.
Sort of. He has, like, the different armor forms, which I guess you could argue, like...
Or, when, Endgame, when he busts out the like funnel wings and or no, not Endgame, Infinity War, when they're fighting on Titan. Yeah, that's kind of a similar idea, right? Like, so
that's fair.
Yeah, I'm just generally surprised it's not built into armor when it's built into a lot of classes in 5e anyway.
I mean, that is fair. That's what I'm kind of hoping like I can use haste to do that. I've been trying to figure out how I can sort of gamify some of it to stack pseudo sicko modes. I hate that I'm coining that, by the way.
Trademark
Pseudo sicko mode. TM. I'm hoping that I can figure something out with that. I kind of can. Don't look at my character sheet, Josh. I want it to be a surprise because it's gonna be fucking hard in the motherfucking paint when it happens.
Okay.
Agreed.
Oh, Sam, do you also have plans?
We have a strategy. We've got like a whole like battle plan now.
That too.
Of
interesting. Okay.
Yeah,
Of
no,
murder.
it's
news to me.
It's right because Django's front line, Leah's back line, and the two bards like Kai, our portal tank bard, is gonna sit right next to Django and just hopefully if Puzzle doesn't
Twitch.tv/LP_VS.
cast shatter at every 2 seconds, support Django, and then Brett, our lovely editor, will not die again. For the
I like
third
how
time.
you roast him and he's only died once.
He died twice.
No. Well,
Yeah.
two different characters. Be nice.
It's still 2 deaths, bud.
Okay,
that's
well,
right.
Here's the thing, though. Kai also
Forgot
two
about
deaths
that.
by that logic. So
Yes.
you
Yeah,
know.
but it's a lot harder to kill Kai. He's got almost twice the hit points as Zephyr.
No, he has
And-
literally twice the hit points
And
Exactly.
way more
So,
AC.
you know, is what it is.
and way more. hits.
Yeah, and way more AC. I don't have to worry about Kai dying. Every time anything walks within 10 feet of Zephyr, I just go, there he goes. He's dead, Jim.
If only he
It
had
was
Misty
pretty
Step.
funny in the previous session. So anyone who's running 5e out there on the internet, wraiths are pretty dangerous,
Oh yeah,
and they could just auto kill you if they hit you hard enough.
yeah. They're one of the 5e monsters in the list of. This is not the right CR. This should be bumped up a bit.
I don't, so it's funny you say that. I would argue, this is kind of a tangent, but whatever. I would argue that they're not necessarily outside of the CR they should be, because although they can one-shot you, it's very unlikely. Like, there's a chance, but it's a pretty low chance, and none of their other abilities are powerful. Like, they don't have anything else strong. They're just, like, decently beefy and can hit pretty hard, but, like, they don't have any
They're also
crazy
really-
power
Yeah,
that
they're
gives
also
them,
really
like,
fast.
they're fast, but they don't have any power that gives them like automatic win button. Like, it's not like a Banshee's whale type shit. But because what happened though was I hit Brett twice
You
for
crit
a
him
lot
once.
for a shitload of damage, and he failed the save, so his maximum HP got
Miserably.
reduced by the amount of damage he took, which was all the health he had left. So he died instantly. He got no
Nice.
death saves.
Editor's note: I had so much fun that day.
This is a slight thing. I really love how Django has become like a pseudo bard in a way to the two bards, because whenever they fail, I'm like, stroke of genius, you're good. But then, no, he failed so bad that I was like, bro, I can't even save you. Like,
You
even
tried.
if I had a +5, I couldn't. You're fucked. It's over. GG. Shake the hand.
You actually could have saved him if you had one more point on your stroke of genius.
All right, I was thinking about
One.
next level, maybe getting the +5 on my int, but hey, we're tangenting too hard. Josh, you're
No,
the
we're
only
not.
one whose mic is active right now, so you're up.
What
God,
am I up
Wow,
for?
got
What
him.
am I doing?
For the topic.
Just in general? Okay. I wasn't sure if Isaiah meant something else.
No?
Can I plead the fifth? Can I like abstain? I don't really have an answer
Negative.
to this. Like, I don't.
Wow.
Okay.
what are you
I-
mean?
So like,
Yes.
okay, let me.
Apparently.
I don't know. I like don't know what it is. You know, like I don't know what gets me really going while playing a character. Like I know what I get excited about GMing. That's easy, but playing a character, I don't know. I mean, so there's the obvious one of I built a barbarian, and I like. Trying to think of a good example. Let's say I made a Warforged barbarian, and I like the idea of their rage mode being like the Warforged activates kill mode or whatever, and they like visually change and like armor plating. You know, they like Gundam unicorn it up. Like, let's say that was a concept I had. Then obviously, when I get to do the thing, it's gonna be fun. But like,
So like, hold on. Let's break it down into simpler. Do you enjoy more like combat or role play? Just simple, like one or the other. If you had to choose.
well,
Just to
so
help.
it needs to be a healthy 50-50 for me.
for you,
Because if I make a character and let's say I get really, like if I make a College of Swords bard and I get really excited about the dueling flourish abilities, and then we don't have combat for 5 sessions and I never get to use my cool dueling flourish and describe how my character does their sick thing with their saber or whatever, then yeah, I'll be disappointed. But also if we just have 5 rows of, 5 sessions of combat in a row where nobody speaks a fucking word to each other, that's also no bueno. But like, I don't know, like to me, a character almost always for me starts as I read something about the mechanics of the game and went, that's a cool mechanic, I want to do that. And then I just figure the rest of the shit out later. I think I've said this before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For example, Vampire the Masquerade. I read the potency ability, or was it potence, or was it the ability that just made you like Hulk out, basically, was potency. I read that and I was like, oh, I love the idea of being like a fucking super jacked vampire who like rips the door off of the wall, walks into the room, and then clowns on 4 dudes with her bare fucking hands. So I was like, how do I get that? And then I started backpedaling, trying to figure out how I could get that. I was like, okay, be Clan Bruja. All right, cool. What's Clan Bruja about? Okay, how do I make a character around that? So on and so forth. Or like in Apocalypse World, I remember the first time I read the Brainer. Oh no, what's it called? Change the playbook name. I think it's the Brainer originally. The like psychic playbook in that game. And I read some of the, they have an ability to like mind attack people, basically. And I was like, oh, that's fucking dope. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to do that. And then I just built a whole character around that concept. So I get excited to use the mechanic, but maybe that's it. But it's weird because hilariously, the character I was talking about as my favorite character, which is Zigzags, I didn't do that. I did the opposite. I was like, I want to play a funny kobold man who thinks he's hot shit and like thinks he's a great hero and talks a lot of shit, but is also kind of a clown. And then I went backwards. And the first version of Zigzags, he was a wizard, which didn't really feel right, but I tried it. And then I was like, okay. When we came around the second time, I was like, what would make more sense? I was like, oh, he should be a bard because that fits his personality. But at no point did I decide mechanically. He was the other way around. So maybe I should do it the other way around because I really like playing that character. I don't know where I'm going with this.
So
I was gonna say,
just kind of rambling at this point.
Here, go for it.
Well, I think it's worth bringing up. The other day, like you wanted to like have the Trevor Belmont Alucard sort of dynamic. So maybe that's something that you're like subconsciously tied to. Like you'd like the like inter-character relationship aspect of it as well, because that was like a big thing between Zigzags and Paz, right? Is that they had this really fun love-hate, fuck you, but also like don't you die on me situation.
That's true. I mean, maybe that's what it is like I need an inter-character tie to like really seal the deal. Because, I think everyone gets excited where, oh, I'm going to make a Spores Druid. And then the first time they activate their, like, zombie Spore Master form, everyone gets excited about that. But that only is exciting for so long until it eventually just is an ability that you use. It's like, oh, it's my thing. It's the thing I do or whatever. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it's like, it's kind of hard to say. I mean, I do like it. Actually, I think it just came to me.
Oh,
so I do this thing. All right. Tell me if anyone else does this, because I don't know. This might be a weird thing that I do. I don't know. I'll do this thing where I will take the characters in the game I'm currently playing and or running, and I will imagine them in scenarios, and I will play those scenarios out in my head and kind of see where they go based on the characters in question. So like, for example, I'll think about the game I'm running right now, and I'll think about a scenario where like Zephyr and Leah are fighting, and then they have a quippy conversation back and forth, and then something happens, and they like have some sort of philosophical debate about the world or something. And like I'll play that scene out in my head just as like an idea, and sometimes I turn it into a thing that I actually use, and sometimes I don't. So I guess those are probably the thing that really gets me going, is like if I have an idea like that and then it actually happens in game, either it's never going to happen exactly, but a moment that happens close to what I imagined.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like I remember when we brought up the existence of the Blade of Avernus, and I remember imagining like 2 different scenes of like, what if Zigzags picks it up and what if Paz picks it up? And then the fact that I got to actually pick it up really was like, oh, this is amazing. And then the fact that Sam was like, also, there's some other fun things here. And I'm like, oh, this is even better. Yeah, I guess it's that. It's like, those moments that really let you emphasize the character and be like, this is what they're all about, or a moment that really lets you like show a side of them. And I think that's what I like in actual plays too. Like I'm imagining listening to Critical Role. Is this a spoiler? No, this isn't a spoiler. The scene where Percy and Vax have the conversation in the bathtub. Like, that's such a good scene, not because of the funniness of it, although it is funny, but because of the way that it showcases the two characters in question and the way it just so perfectly like encapsulates their relationship and shit. Mm-hmm. Another great example is when Percy like loses his shit and just caps a guy and like gives a whole speech about how he's going to hell and all. It's like really over the top, and you're like, damn, bro, that was kind of dark. You okay? Like those kind of things. I guess that's probably what it is. And I guess to your point, Isaiah, having those tight character relationships with very specific ties is how you get those good scenes. So I guess that's the secret sauce.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm not gonna lie, I do that constantly. Like I'll do that with characters that I'm playing. I'll do that in between characters that I'm running for, like my post-apocalypse game. I'm doing that all the time.
Right?
Like
okay, I'm not crazy.
There was a great moment that I like for the longest time that I was visualizing, and you know, Brett's in the game, so spoiler. But there was one of my players, she plays like a Native American like Phoenix person, and her whole thing was she was cast out of her tribe because she can't fly, and they're all have like crazy fire powers and they can fly. And her brother's like the best fighter in the tribe. He's this sort of unstoppable warrior, and he constantly is described before they had like gone back to her tribe as this like cold, emotionless sort of bastard of a character. And when I was thinking about this the whole time, thinking like, I really like the idea of him not being this cold, emotionless monster and more of this too afraid to scream into the tempest because of like honor or what people might think of his family. So when she was cast out, he like behind closed doors like flipped shit to their father, and he was like, I can't, you know, he's like, I understand, I don't want to send her away, but there's nothing we can do. Like we either do it or we look like cowards. So we obviously we can't do the latter, so we have to do the former. And when she had gone back, she was like, I want to like go to my old home, which I was like, yes, like I've been thinking about that since they got there. And they had this great conversation.
It's too good of a backstory not to be like, I got to do something with this.
Yeah. And like, she was like, I want to go home. I want to talk to him. That it started off really awkward between like two people who just don't know how to be around each other. And it not devolved, but it sort of evolved into this two estranged siblings who never got to say that they loved each other, as, you know, because they just weren't, the emotion wasn't there, right? It was, you're the best and I'm the worst, so we have nothing in common. So yeah, no, I get that completely, because that shit blows my mind when it happens.
When it works out.
When it works out, I almost said when it happens the way that I thought, and it never does. But when it it's never the way you think. It's like in a way that satisfies the concept.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Matt and Sam, is that a thing you guys do?
Oh, absolutely.
Also? Okay.
So I guess I do it more on the DM side than the player
Yes, I definitely
side.
do it more as a DM. Yeah.
And it helps me kind of build the encounters that I want to see, but I've definitely done it as a player as well. So I think the time that it happened the most is probably after Django died the first time. I guess it definitely knows that there's a second time. And I kept thinking about how Leah would react to seeing the person that killed Django over and over and over and over again, because me as a player at that moment in time was mad. So I was like, my character is furious, like way madder than I am. So I don't know how to even do this. I had to keep running scenarios in my head to kind of really feel what what the character was feeling. And we had been in maybe 7 sessions at this point. I'd have to go look at my notes.
It wasn't that far in.
We were not that far in.
Yeah.
It's also, I find it funny that you guys had a very visceral react. Like all 4 of you had a very visceral reaction to that moment. And I find it kind of funny because I didn't plan it to be, and I didn't put that many pieces in place to get a big rise, but it just kind of happened that way.
Well, I think it's logical, right? Because like Django is like he's the grounding rod to the party, right? He's so painfully blunt and painfully literal, and is sort of the unstoppable. He's the immovable object of the party, right? Kai has a lot of health, but he's going to go down eventually. But Django just has so many ways of not going down that when he goes down and gets back up 3 or 4 times and then just he can't get back up again and just dies. It's kind of jarring, right? When your first line of defense goes down, everyone hits, Fubar.
Yeah, true. But the emotional reaction from everyone as players, the genuine emotional reaction was very surprising to me at the time. It was interesting. Also, it was session 9, by the way. I just looked. My notes.
Okay. Yeah. I figured it was before we hit double digits.
Yeah, you were pretty much on the money. It's good to know I'm not. It's good to know. I thought that was a weird thing that I did and was not a productive thing to do. It was just something I did, but apparently not. Apparently other people are on the same wavelength.
No, I feel like it happens more commonly if you're into the character and you're into the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, you have to give a shit about the characters in question.
Yeah,
No,
there certainly. Go on, sorry.
If you're doing a purely beer pretzels dungeon crawl thing, you're probably not doing that so much.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so I'm the dungeon crawl campaign right now. So I have particular fights in mind that I haven't 100% planned out that I know, if done right, are going to affect certain characters in the Labyrinth campaign that we're doing.
Right.
God help me get a game going, because I swear to Christ, if we play a session this Friday and then after next Friday we never play for another 2 months, I will be very upset. I feel like, it just depends on the style that the DM is doing it in. The way that Labyrinth is going, of course, is not the usual dungeon crawl. It's, all right, guys, we did a layer. We're going back. We'll regroup, get supplies if we think we need them, and then go back in.
For those who have played it, it's got big Persona energy.
Yeah.
Very much go into dungeon, get out of dungeon, smooch with friends, go back into dungeon, that kind of.
Yeah, do some downtime. Maybe a big event will happen in between. Who
Play
knows?
dodgeball.
Also kind of Fire Emblem. Play dodgeball. Also got some Fire Emblem energy, kind of.
Anyways, I feel like it depends on what you do, because I've had one particular fight sitting in my mind since I let one character do one thing.
Interesting.
Almost a year ago now. So,
I have I feel like I could whittle it down to 3 events that may have been that point. I'm very curious to find out, but eventually, if or when it happens,
It totally wasn't because I pegged that kid in the face with a dodgeball.
No, it was. It probably wasn't because you
Probably not.
cratered that dude's fucking face with a dodgeball.
Probably not. No.
man,
Could be
out
though.
of context, this is
I can't wait till the scenario of we're in the dungeon and I'm handcuffed to him and I'm like, God fucking damn it.
Write that down.
I just
You're welcome.
we're
We're all handcuffed to one member of the other party.
Quick tangent. I like the idea that eventually Yato is going to be completely banned from playing dodgeball. Just no,
because she's the
No,
best.
you don't
Banned
get
from
to
the
play.
gymnasium.
I mean dodgeball specifically because I'm a monk and I deflect missiles, so I just have a free lol, can't touch me. It's very funny. I'd just be lol.
I mean, I literally
Lamau.
did say everybody could use magic and their abilities to play dodgeball.
It's true.
And then I think someone used Mage Hand.
Yeah, that was me. Even
Oh my-
used Mage Hand.
Can you
Bro.
imagine the absolute clownery of somebody a ranger casting Conjure Barrage on a dodgeball?
Oh my god, that'd
No.
be sick.
Wait,
Just
hold on,
splits
though.
into 7 dodgeballs and everyone's like, bro, what the fuck?
Write that down.
Just gets absolutely machine gun, just machine gun the enemy team.
God bless.
Oh, that's actually pretty fun. You just hear a shotgun noise in the background. Everyone's
Wait,
like,
what's that
what
noise?
the fuck?
I'm happy
Turn
that
around.
I also can only imagine Conjure Barrage as a shotgun blast.
I mean, what else is it?
You could argue it's like a minigun, just
Nah, that's no fun.
No, I can only see like.
I mean, Contra
Okay.
Barrage is also like, to me, the scene, see the rain of arrows, or that one
Yeah.
scene where the elves shoot a bunch of arrows and the dwarves go lamau.
Yeah, like the
And then
anti-arrow
arrow
fucking
deflector.
like helicopter ballista thing. I love that.
Yeah. The Hobbit
the
movies
fucking
gave us one
Hywacha.
thing. It's that.
Do you guys know about
Anyways.
the Hywacha?
Yeah, the Hwacha. The Hwacha.
The,
That thing
the
is
what?
the Hawacha.
No.
It's
The
an
Hwa-
ancient. This is a good tangent. We're going on this one. It's an ancient Chinese artillery weapon. It's basically rows and rows and rows of like bamboo tubes, and then they put a shitload of fireworks in them.
Oh,
and then
I've
they
seen this
tie
shit.
all the
Yeah.
wicks together,
Yeah.
and then light all the wicks, and then they all fire off at once. And it
Right.
essentially was like missile fire in like the 1400s or whatever the fuck it was.
It really
Fuck
was
yeah.
baby's first surface-to-air missile launcher.
It literally was, and it would just
Ah, hell yeah.
rain fireworks on people, or arrows, flaming arrows, something along those lines. Remember,
Anything. Just
basically anything
anything.
you wanted, and it was amazing. There's a whole MythBusters episode about it where they tried to see how effective it was. The answer is quite effective.
Yeah.
It's
Oh, no.
great. Ancient Chinese weaponry is some of my favorite shit. I don't know why. Big fan. Guandaos,
Yeah.
man. You can't argue with the Guandao.
Well, the Hwacha is the if the ballista has your name on it, the Hwacha is addressed to whom it may concern.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes.
I think. Okay, so we
Matt,
did
Hi.
me, we did Josh. Did we do Sam? Oh yeah, we'll do Matt next.
We can do Sam. Sam, rock, paper, scissors. Let's go.
so Matt, you were saying you also do the imagine scenes that could potentially play out thing.
Yeah, I do it both, like Sam said, I do it both as a GM and player. Lately, because I haven't been actually in the DM seat for a little bit, I'm doing it more for the player side. Specifically for the evil character I'm playing right now, I'm like trying to think of all the schemes I can do.
Right.
And right now, the big thing is in my head is I'm setting up. If anyone's ever watched the Z Bashu video where he talks about the silent image spell, I'm trying to do that in our Icewind Dale campaign, where he tricks the town people into thinking their god, which is actually just a giant illusion, is convincing them that, hey, something's bad, help these people, our party, and that's it. And I'm basically just trying to set it up. But in my head, I'm like, okay, step A, step B, step C. And I'm like planning out everything my character can do in the game. So that next session, I know what I have, like my checklist. I know what to do. And hopefully everything goes correctly. It's not going to. But, you know,
It
in
never
my head,
does.
it never does. No, it never does.
Of course not.
But at least I'm prepping for it.
I mean, yeah, understandable.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, like all people do, because it's, you know, part of play. Imagining your character, you're like, ooh, I want this scene to happen with my character or whatever. Like, I think everybody does that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, maybe it is more common than my thinking. I guess the part that I find weird about the way I do it is probably I get really detailed with it sometimes, to the point where like I'm acting out like a play on a stage type thing, which is maybe a bit much, but you know.
No, I feel like you're one of the few people who are like, oh, not sure if you ask Twitter, but like, I feel like everyone does it. To quote Sun Tzu, a basement, what is it? A cringe man will think he is based. A basement is true to his cringe self.
True to his cringe self. Yeah.
I believe that was Lao
Sun Tzu's
Tzu.
out of war. So,
Yep.
yeah,
Lao
I think
Tzu.
that really do. No, it's Sun Tzu.
No, it was
No,
Lao
no,
Tzu.
it was Lao Tzu.
Confucius say.
Oh,
I
is
had
it?
it
All right,
down.
well, guess I'll
Meme
fuck
was
with
Lao Tzu, yeah.
Yeah, it's Lao Tzu.
Yeah.
All right, well,
But,
guess I'll fuck myself.
You may be onto something there.
I've come to the realization, because like for a while, and like Josh, you can attest to this, that I was constantly like, oh no, like this is impractical and dumb. Like I'm not gonna dual wield because dual wielding is stupid. And then now I'm like, every melee character dual wields because it's just really fun to get
Dual
through
wielding
whacks.
is look. Dual wielding may not be efficient. It may not be a good idea. It may not be historically accurate. But motherfucker, it looks dope, so who cares?
Yeah, I mean, something about like dual wielding like falchions or Xiphos is just like, yes. Or that one character where I dual wielded katanas, but it's fine, don't worry about it.
Dual wielded katanas.
It was okay. So internet, I did it ironically. I did it for a meme.
It wasn't that ironic.
No, it wasn't.
No. It was ironic.
Tell me about
It wasn't that ironic.
tell me about your magic katana powers, Stu. What'd you do to those katanas?
I did a lot to those katanas. What did I do? One of them did radiant damage, and one of them did.
No. How did you activate them?
How did I activate them? I don't remember.
Say the B word.
Brother.
Not that one.
Cut your hand and
Yeah.
bled on them.
Yeah.
The blood.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. I would like quick draw them and like cut like my thumb, like Blood Plus style. I did do that. That's right. I forgot.
I like how you
about
said
that.
Blood Plus style, and my brain went straight to Naruto.
Oh yeah, I know. I didn't think.
My
'cause I
God.
don't like Naruto.
Nah, I don't really like Naruto either, but it's the first thing that came to mind.
Okay, but like, come on, Rock Lee versus Gaara, best
was
fight
sick.
in the entire,
That's right.
best fight in the
Peace.
entire show.
Everybody loves that fight.
true.
Every time
No,
I
it doesn't matter
go-
how based you are. Everybody loves Gaara versus Rock Lee.
every time I say I'm gonna rewatch Naruto, I get to the fight and say, all right, I'm done. I watched the whole show. And
Yeah, that's the show. It doesn't get
Nothing
it. There's
exists
no
after
more
that
show
fight.
after that.
It peaked right there.
It did.
Okay.
The session's canceled where we have great takes.
Yes. It was ironic.
Sorry, I'm sorry. No, hold on. Sorry. I really had to hold back from saying trash taste because of the fuck up earlier. I could not.
No, we're doing. No, why did you bring it up? Why did you do this to me?
Brett, play the
I
trash
couldn't-
taste intro right now.
I'll be honest, Chief. I don't think I got the permissions.
No,
No,
my God, I
no,
literally said.
no.
I literally said I don't want us to sound like a bunch of fucking like shitty groupies.
Too late.
I couldn't.
I like how you say,
myself.
Isaiah, you say that like we don't all have the mug.
I don't have the mug. I bought it. I tried buying it too late.
Oh.
Oh, shame.
I mean, I don't have the mug either. I just have the T-shirt.
What? Matt, you didn't get the
What?
mug?
What? What's wrong with you?
What the fuck is wrong with you?
I got a shirt.
Mug's
All right,
better.
Okay. All right, but like history of Matt's purchases with merchandise, not
No,
reliable.
is true.
no.
This is true.
We don't
No,
have
real.
to bring that into the podcast.
Yeah, we don't need to bring up the
We
JoJo
don't have to bring up the
shirt.
fact that you spent $500 on 4 JoJo shirts.
Sir, 6 JoJo shirts.
Oh, I see. $500 on 6 JoJo shirts. How many have you worn, Matt?
Listen, they are investments. They
How many have you worn,
increase-
Matt?
They increase in value with age.
How many have you fucking worn, Matt? Answer the fucking question.
Yo, the Cars one, the ultimate thing. It's actually technically not a shirt. It's a long sleeve. It's
I
completely
like how
different.
this is usually my bit, and it's just not my bit anymore.
I can't. This is not, of all the tangents we could have gone on, this is not the one. This ain't it, Chief.
God, I don't even. This is great. This is a great episode. Glad
Holy
this is how we're
fuck.
doing our return to recording.
I'm still
So is
waiting.
that-
I'm waiting for this answer. I'm not going to let him.
So is the title of this episode going to be called Matt Spends a Ton of Money on JoJo Shirts Sicko Mode?
Yes,
No,
absolutely.
that's too weird of a ref. No, we can't. All right, move on.
What do you
Just
mean?
move on.
All right,
Let's just get back to it.
Matt, what fucking tickles your pickle about playing a character?
I guess.
Matt has pickles? I want some
No.
pickles.
Pickles.
I guess for me it's like 60, maybe 65% role play, and then 40 to 35% combat or exploration. I don't know. Interchangeable.
That's a fucking vague answer. What?
Yeah, like,
Well,
what,
like,
what,
well, I'm
what
trying to-
about those things?
Well, that's why I'm like, that's why, Josh, you break it down first in the simple, and then you fucking explain.
tell me what to fucking do.
I don't know. I like the fact that like the acting play type of deal where like I get to pretend to be another person, a creature, whatever. And
man.
Yeah, a lizard
A
man
gremlin.
or a Goliath man or not a man, whatever. It
Only
doesn't matter.
lizards.
Ah, true. Getting to step into the shoes of someone who's not you and or someone that is probably a part of you, but to the 10th degree, and just improving and role playing with other people and like building fun scenes and scenarios with each other. I don't know. That's for me. It's like, how does this character that I'm going to act as or pretend to be for God knows how long interact with the world, and what do they do in the reaction between them and other people, NPCs or otherwise?
God, Matt, you're just all about that journey.
Oh yeah, dude.
All about that bass. About that
No,
bass.
we are not. No, we're not doing this. Fuck
I-
off.
Doing
I,
what?
Canceled.
I,
I don't think that's a
where did that even
cancelable
come
offense.
No, we're just gonna
No,
get
I'm
sued.
canceling
Then
you
we're
personally.
canceled.
I'm canceling your life subscription.
Damn.
Well, damn. That just reminds me of the
All right,
insult.
fair enough. I don't really have a retort to
Bitch,
that.
are you of subscription? Because I'm over your issues. Sorry.
But yeah, I guess mostly for me, yeah, it's role play, and then like, yeah, that's the weird thing because I know like D&D is literally a game about killing monsters, but that's not my main concern. If my character is okay at it, and not basically as long as my dude's not a detriment to the party in combat, I don't care. Doesn't matter. Like if he like if it was like Matingo, where I fucking like 1v1 to Merilith, like
Matt,
that's
I think
awesome.
I think you're slightly misunderstanding when I say that the mechanical stuff is fun. I don't necessarily mean being effective. I just mean getting to use the cool mechanic that the game designed just because I wanted to try it out. It doesn't.
Oh no, that wasn't.
You don't have to be good in combat.
No, that wasn't anything on you. This is like me specifically. Like combat for me, it's cool. It's a fun part of the game. I mean, honestly, if you look at D&D, they expect you that is most of your game, and it probably takes the longest out of your game.
80% of your game, in fact.
80s, yeah. But
Judging
like,
by the page count.
You're right. But for me, that's not my, I guess, favorite aspect, or that's not why like I play a character. If he's okay at combat, or if he's good at combat, which I try to make most of my characters okay or good at combat, and then I always give them a weakness. Just fucking.
I mean, here's the thing: 5e, you can't really make a character who's not good at combat. So.
Right, true. That's why no one will let me play absurd. I just want to play everything just once.
Yo,
I just
No.
ruin.
No,
just have a bad time for both me and the rest of the group.
no, fuck
No.
you.
But yeah,
I
don't know.
refuse.
We don't do that here.
Yeah, at least that's for me. Because yeah, or like cool mechanics. Definitely like my evil guy right now is the undead warlock like Sam's. And I definitely like the form of dread.
I'm not
It's really
evil.
cool. Oh, you're not? Oh, whoops. Well,
Yeah, Sam's
we
character's not evil.
are both the same warlock subclass, I guess.
I am aligned to science. Thank you very much.
Sam's character's alignment is books.
Yes.
Neat.
You fuck with the book,
Books
you
and
get hit.
manuscripts.
Yeah, his alignment is fuck my friends. Knowledge.
Knowledge is power.
Sam's character's out here like, what's that? There's an ancient tablet under a pile of rubble, or I could save Zephyr. See you
I mean,
later,
the answer
Zephyr.
is the rubble
Yeah.
every time.
Yeah.
Tablet.
It's funny. This was
Ancient
like,
secrets, you say?
But does it have
was
apple
like-
care?
man, it'd be really funny
Shut
if
up,
at one
Matt.
point
Shut up.
Leah and Zephyr were like, hey, so we have a romance thing, but Leah just isn't there in the relationship at all. It would be very funny because I abandoned him so often.
You do. And then you
LOL,
make fun of the
Misty
fact
Step.
that he can't cast Misty Step. Yeah.
I every single time. It never
Misty
gets old
Step
for
has
me.
become the group meme. It's really something.
Yeah.
Why can everybody in your party cast it except for
No.
that
No.
one player? Oh.
No, it's just me.
Sam.
It's just
Just
Leah.
Sam.
It's just me.
She's the
Oh.
only one that can cast it.
It's just
Yeah.
Sam has used it so many times and has just left teammates to die with that ability that it's just
Yeah.
become the meme.
Yes.
I mean,
Nice.
teammates to die. It's Zephyr every time.
You know what's
Let's
funny?
be real.
I actually
yeah.
I could have picked up a like you teleport 10 feet ability for level 9 artificer. I could have done that, but I was like, no, I'm not gonna leave my friends to die like Leah does.
Hey. You know,
Yeah.
sometimes I just gotta leave to do more damage.
like that
okay.
sometimes.
You know, when all of your damage is in a ranged skill or bow, you have to just not be there.
Fair
All right.
enough.
That's how I justify it.
It's very true. Just because you're right doesn't mean you're correct, but you know.
I
He's
mean, I
out of
could
line,
just
but
do
he's
the-
correct.
Yeah, exactly.
I could just
exactly
do the
right.
giant death orb on everybody. That would go real
Oh
well.
my god. Just no.
Do it.
Hunger
I'm just sad that it.
wild.
I'm just sad it doesn't last.
It's true.
Yeah, that is one of those weird things.
I mean, I think it'd be pretty broken
Yeah,
because it already makes it's a 20-foot radius, makes everyone blind and does damage no matter what.
Well,
True, it is consistent damage.
It could be one
It
of those
does-
things where, because there are some spells that require like a multi-level upcast, so it'll only get more effective at like level 6 or then like level 9.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. I'm forgetting what spell. Like I'm blanking on any of the spells that do that. Does it like hold person or no?
I know spiritual weapon does that sort of.
I have no fucking clue.
Nice.
So,
nice.
I'm just gonna sit here and twiddle my niddle.
Neither do I. Hey, remember that time we were talking about D&D trivia?
The D&D.
Oh,
trivia.
yeah.
The theoretical eat spicy food contest where Sam would have died 8 questions in.
And or wax.
8 questions in. It's like 3.
I mean, I love spicy food, but also I would not win that at all.
Just nothing but like fucking Carolina Reaper. Just death.
Okay.
I feel like
all
we're
No,
letting
you got builds.
Hold on.
That's not how that works. We don't just go to Carolina.
Yes, we do.
I feel like we're letting Matt get
yeah,
out
we
of
do.
answering this question.
We are, yes. We have to stop doing that.
Wait, what answer?
I don't feel like you really answered
My
like
goodness.
the question
What?
of like what hits what
That-
hits the serotonin button.
Role playing, interacting with other people
that's
as
vague
another
though.
character.
That's just in general. Like
How is that? What do you mean that? How is that vague?
me and Isaiah gave very specific examples.
The fuck?
I feel like you're being a little vague.
How is that vague? I
Because,
like playing another character, like playing
but
a
that's like-
character,
that's
jumping
like-
into acting
but-
as another thing, and
Right, but that
interacting
happens
with.
all the time. That's like happening constantly. That's not like a special moment that hits the serotonin button. You know what I mean? Like that's just a thing. The whole time you're playing.
Yeah, but that's not one moment though. I like all the moments doing that.
That feels
How
like
is
a
that
cop out.
vague?
Yeah, Isaiah, is that a cop out? That feels like a cop out.
I just think it's fun. Matt, the whole ass is just like, I just like showing up.
Yeah, that's kind of what you're like. I just like being here. Like, Matt's the friend at the bar who like doesn't drink or order any food, but he's just hanging out because everyone
Oh,
else
like
wanted
it.
to go to the bar.
Yep.
I can't really think of like anything that's like specific about that. It's like
Okay,
I like
here.
having character
I
interactions.
feel like
what
I
the
feel
fuck?
like Matt's answer that he doesn't understand is that he likes being a clown. I think that's
that's a part of it. That's a part of the role play.
Matt, what if we rephrase the idea a little bit? What if I say to you, what are some moments that happened in games you've played that really fucking hit that serotonin button, that like really jammed that index finger into the pineal gland and just unleashed the nirvana? You know what I'm saying?
Just clearly his time is up.
What?
The pineal gland? Know what that is?
No.
Okay, well, science lesson for another time. The pineal gland. It's a part of your brain. It's the part that secretes DMT when you have dreams. It's also the part that a lot of Chinese medicine and stuff refers to as like the third eye, and Buddhism refers to it as that, and all this other shit.
You couldn't
I
have been
like
like
how
that.
he
That's what
said-
tickles your prostate. Like you couldn't have just hit him with that.
I was trying to not be dirty about it.
I really like how he said science lesson for another time and then proceeded to give us a science
about it. I
lesson.
know.
Another
I know.
time, 3 seconds from now.
It's just-
Yeah, another time, meaning 3 seconds from this statement. That's another time.
Ugh.
Look,
You know,
just
Matt
because
can
you're
pay
correct
attention
doesn't
to
mean you're
awards
right.
you
Yeah,
said.
exactly.
I
Anyway,
mean,
yeah, like
all right,
Matt,
so
was like in the past, was there a moment where you're like, yes, I have
All right.
achieved nirvana. This was the moment.
Well, I guess as a player,
There's gotta be something.
yeah. There's a couple, like I can remember a couple character moments that I thought, I guess, kind of to Isaiah's point.
We're mostly
yeah, sure,
talking as
goofing,
DMs.
being a clown. Yeah, because
Sorry. We're mostly talking as players here. We're not
as
so
players.
much
Yeah,
on
that's what I meant. Like
we're
as
not
players.
so much on the DM side of things.
Right, because like funny moments in the Curse of Strahd game where we're all trying to hide because Strahd shows up, and I literally roll a natural 1, and I literally just shout out as we're hiding in the bushes next to Strahd, "Hey, what's that?" pointing at fucking Strahd. Or goofy stuff like in my Storm King's Thunder game, trying to make magic potion with my turtle barbarian friend, and we accidentally blow up an inn. Or this
yeah, I
actually,
wonder how that
this last one's not. Yeah, we were. I don't even remember what kind of potions we were making, but we just messed it up, and then the room was on fire, and then we tried putting it out, and then the building blew up.
So it's the clownery.
Nice.
Yeah, I guess clownery. Yeah, clownery, or even like in right now my Icewind Dale game. One of the cool things I did, and this is, I won't spoil it too much, but there's a moment in Icewind Dale where you fight a dragon, and this dragon had
Whoa. Dragons in my Dungeons and Dragons, Matt?
right unheard.
What the fuck?
But like this
Why?
thing had some sort of ability to possess people and basically make them fight each other. So me, because I always dump wisdom, basically was 1v1ing the fighter as a warlock and getting my shit rocked. Meanwhile, our monk is riding the dragon 100 feet in the air just trying to stab it to death.
I
And the
also
dragon
am a
did
fan
the-
of riding dragons.
Yeah, no, it was awesome until the part where the dragon's like, I'm gonna corkscrew now, and just yeeted her.
I like
so-
how Matt just ignored my statement.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Don't worry,
Yeah.
I understood.
Yeah, no, I figured.
Yeah,
So
same.
I was like, somebody will.
Yeah. No, I got it. I just wanted to
All
ignore
right,
it.
that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
And then and this is something like out of character because this is an evil character, character I'm playing. I cast fly on myself and caught said person midair. I think I took a shit ton of damage because I fucking the force of someone getting yeeted off a dragon and then me colliding to catch them. Yeah. On top of me 1v1ing a fighter the moment before. But I guess, yeah, clownery, cool moments like that. I don't know. That's why I said role playing with other characters or interactions in story mode. I didn't think that would be super vague.
Well, yeah, but the reason, okay, because here's the thing though, saying
We didn't
role
give
playing,
examples.
saying role playing is basically just saying I like playing the game, which is not.
Is it?
Yes.
Well, I figured,
100%.
all right, well, I guess what other word can I use?
100%.
I like acting out as another character and talking to another character and
But
then
that's
things
just playing
happen.
the game.
Like,
in general.
fucking, what the fuck? There are other aspects to the game, though.
Right. I mean,
Yeah, but
kind of,
role-playing's
yes,
part
but
of
like, that's not really, that's kind of a non-answer. But you answered, you got more specific. It's okay. We got there. We got there eventually together.
I
Sam,
fucking
feel like
guess.
I'm listening to a parent tell a
Sam.
child how to do something.
Did you have something to add, Sam?
What? No.
I don't know. You sound like it.
I just listening to this entire conversation go on before me where you basically were just like, no, child, this is not how you do it. This is how you do it.
Look. I'm just saying, Isaiah was asking for a very specific thing, and Matt's response was, I like to play the tabletop games, which is not really an answer to the question. That's all. That was what my point was. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
No,
I feel
think-
like Isaiah's on my team, right? Isaiah?
Sort of. Yes, but also I honestly didn't expect that much more than we got from Matt, CBH. I felt like that was going to be his answer anyway.
Wow.
Yeah, I also thought
said,
that
"Fuck
when
you,
you guys
chicken
were
strips."
starting with, hey, Matt didn't answer the question, I thought you were going to start berating him for the $400 and 6 JoJo shirts. I flipped the number.
I was about to
Sorry.
say.
How would you, what? I
'Cause
don't,
you
I
had-
don't berate, I do not berate Matt about his choice of clothing purchases.
Okay. Anyways. Yeah.
So, anywho,
Just saying.
Sam.
Anywho's, hey, how you doing?
Sam likes the
Um,
blood and suffering of his enemies. I already know the answer to that question.
I actually don't like combat that much.
I know.
I think combat is probably the most boring portion of any tabletop game for me.
Hold on. Pause. Every game?
Pause.
Because I feel like
almost every game.
Huh?
Yeah, almost every game. Like,
that doesn't change based on system. Because I can understand saying
Yeah.
5e combat.
No, it does not change based on system.
Interesting.
This
I think the one time that I enjoyed combat was the 3 sessions of Shadowrun we played, and that's just because I built my character to do boom and character delete. Like
So
that's
you
it.
just want it to be really visceral.
Yeah, I want it to be very visceral, but that's what that character was designed for. Generally, I just don't like combat. Like
Even in a game like Dungeon World where it's much faster.
it's not about speed. It just doesn't. I don't know. I just don't like the feeling of combat 90% of the time. I like the super awesome epic moment of, oh, I did this cool thing in combat and we all lived and et cetera, but like actual combat to me is quite boring. I actually like DMing combat more than I like being the player because
This feels like we
I was
need
going
a.
to ask. I was literally going to ask that because it seems to be. Oh no, yawning. That seems to be something that I have noticed between some people, where it's I don't like playing combat, but I really like running combat, and I'm sort of I think I'm on the fence on that one. Like I personally I like describing cool shit to my players more than anything else. One of my basic rules for running a game is that when the players do an attack, I basically tell people when it comes to combat, I will describe everything for you because I've noticed in the games that I've played where when the GM puts a player on the spot, like they're like, oh, okay, like what do you roll? You know, I roll an 18. Okay, what do you do? And it seems like for the most part, from in my experience again, players just freeze up because they don't know what to do. Like they're like, I didn't think I'd get this far, you know?
I think that's very player by player though, because like I as a player always try to like slide in more description, even if I don't really need to, just because I feel like it, you know?
Yeah, no, I get it. That's what I do.
depends.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
But like I've noticed that I'm not every like, at least in the groups that I've played in, I am not the majority. So whenever I run, I'm like, I will take care of it for you unless I can, like you, for example, Josh, I know that you can be Johnny on the spot, so I'll just let you do what you want to do. But from the rest of the players that I run for, I just describe it for them because I know that it's going to be quicker if I do it, because I sort of understand what I want the pacing is going to be, or what I want the pacing to be based on the description.
Some players might get annoyed about that.
It's weird.
I've had people say like, can I just do it myself? And I always say, like, if I can rely on you to be like, basically if I can ask you like, what do you do? And you're not like, well, so I take my sword and I stab them. I sort of like pull up.
I stab them
like,
good.
Yeah, like that shit gets me annoyed because it's like, you could have just said, I stabbed them and like Vlad the Impaler lift them up on my sword. Shit like that, you know?
Right. It's weird because I feel like most players are okay with it because that's most people would think like the role of the DM, they describe shit. Unless you've been behind the seat or whatever, because there are people who like us, we play in games and stuff as DMs, and we're always, all of us are describing like how we attack or like adding a little more flair into shit. But like
Exactly.
I feel like with normally new DM or new players, whatever, it's kind of expected that the DM is just describing shit. You can if you want to, but if you're 9 times out of 10, I feel like it's always the DM doing it.
If I can trust you, then we're good. But so like I've actually noticed that when I do that for players that I've played with previously who are like, no, I hate combat, it's so boring, it's so whatever, they get like the most into it. Like one of the players that I run for, she hated combat in the previous games that we've been in. But when I sort of express excitement
when you make her character sound cool.
Yeah, well, that's really that's the heart of it, right?
That's the sauce.
If I am excited about what your character is doing, then I think that sort of trickles down, right? Like you're excited about what your character's doing.
The player will be, yeah.
And
so,
like,
I guess, wait, so Sam, well,
yeah,
I feel like we need a hot take alarm for what Sam just unloaded, but also,
what?
Important.
Hot take? It's okay not to like combat in tabletop games. I mean, like,
yeah, I don't know.
I also generally don't build my characters combat.
Visceral about it. You were like, fuck combat. But
no, I didn't say fuck combat.
No, not literally. Never mind. Anyway,
I felt like I was very calm and synced about it.
No,
I
you
just don't
were,
like
but it was a
combat.
very firm statement. What I was trying to say.
Okay, that's a little bit different.
Yes, it is. But here's my question then. So you say you don't like combat, but you like running it better. Why?
Because monsters are cool.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Monsters are cool.
Yeah.
He's out of line, but he's got a point.
That's okay.
They sometimes have cooler mechanics than player options.
Not what I was expecting you to say, but fair enough.
Monsters are cool.
I like cool big monster go burr.
Big monster go bear. I mean, like, I don't particularly like. Okay, like one of my favorite monsters is the black dragon. I don't know why. I think an acid spewing dragon is really cool. But like, I don't know. I really like. I mean, ever since that door mimic, I've had a soft spot.
The door
in my
mimic.
heart.
The door mimic. Good times.
A soft spot in my heart for mimics. When I was like, wait, they can be more. Just that little click. They can be anything. Even a gazebo. But yeah, no, monsters are cool. A lot of the time, I will just flip through any of the compendiums with monsters and be like, oh, I really like that monster. I'm making an entire encounter around this monster. And just go from there. Like, hi.
Sam said, hot take, monster cool.
Yeah, monster cool. It's very hot because monster's cool.
Monster's hot.
Yeah, so like the combat portion of tabletop games is never really what appeals to me unless I specifically am like, this character is going to delete things.
This character is here to commit violence.
Yeah, like Elle in our Souls of Steel game. God, I really need to step away from L names, don't I? I'm
Yes,
starting to
yes, yes.
forget some of the L names that I have, and then I look back at characters and go, fuck, hold on.
Yes.
There's too many. It's gotten to a critical mass.
Oh wait, I've already done Lars. Shit.
Wait, are you pulling a me with M names?
Kind
no,
of.
Matt,
No, Matt,
no,
because
I
you
don't
make
think you
them up.
understand.
It's not.
You
It's
make
not. You
these
don't like
names up.
happen to pick names that start with M. You just go, okay, I'm just gonna switch out the first letter for M. Like
Listen, my
Murad.
Witcher knockoff Meralt of Mivia
Murad.
is gonna blow your
I
mind.
hate
Meralt of
you
Nivea.
and everything that you stand for.
Holy shit.
Fuck you.
I don't even know how to react to that one.
He's a blood hunter,
Oh,
and he's
Wow,
gonna
what a surprise.
maybe dip into the ranger. I don't know,
Wow, another surprise.
right?
But anyways,
Meralt of Nivea.
I thought Murad von Maromich was the worst
No.
one.
no,
It got worse.
no.
It got
I
worse.
started.
It's gonna get
Oh
worse.
god, I started doing world building for all of Eridina's family recently.
Let's
Holy
go, baby.
Oh no. I was like, oh no. I've
Damn.
started writing. Everything is falling into place. Anyways,
I can't wait till we visit my vampire town,
one that-
city.
literally banished from the entire
Yeah.
country.
Kingdom?
Your
Kingdom.
The
Sure.
entire country banished.
Yep.
You
wait to
cannot
go back there.
return. Literally your entire character's backstory.
Screw the rules. I have education now.
I mean, you've been to school for 2 weeks
Yeah.
in game.
That's fine. That's all I need, right?
Sam, don't come in here with facts and logic.
Just
Listen, I'm
because
playing a
you're
barbarian,
right
that's
doesn't
fine.
mean you're correct. A barbarian with lots of daggers.
Anyway, we
Yeah.
have to let Sam finish his thought. We have to get there
no,
eventually.
no. This is a good tangent. Anyways. No, so I think the most fun thing for me is character creation for me is a whole ordeal, because I'm usually like, okay, this is the concept. I have no idea what I want I don't know what the race is gonna be. I don't know what the class is gonna be. That kind of all just happens. I usually just have, oh, I like this concept. I want to make it. And then the role-playing aspects of, this is such a mad answer, but the role-playing aspect of D&D is, well, any tabletop, not just D&D, is what I strive for, is just all of the character interactions, how the character grows, if at all, sometimes they don't. And if they even get along with the rest of the party, oh god, like in our Star Wars game, the trio of characters just being not even goobers, just being like either argumentative or condescending to each other, and there's like no
That
in
was,
between.
the Star Wars party was an interesting one, to say the least.
I miss that game. I miss that party. I miss my character. I really want a V-Wing interceptor that I'm gonna crash immediately
Then we'll kill you.
because I
think-
have no points in
Robo.
piloting.
You know what's funny,
Row,
Isaiah,
yeah.
is Lynn and Roe kind of have a Trevor and Alucard vibe going
They
on.
did,
They did.
If Trevor
really did.
was a fucking moron.
Yeah,
I-
I mean,
Oh,
he has his
just
moments.
No. Yes, he does. But Ro is a fucking moron.
I just
Like, it goes beyond, I'm like, I know that I'm knowledgeable, I just act dumb. No, Ro is just dumb. And Lynn is just too smart to be around him half the time.
yeah. At least I wasn't the only one picking up on that vibe.
Yes.
Picking up what
I
was being
just-
put down.
No,
Yeah.
I know my characters. I know that Ro is a fucking idiot.
I'm just glad
Oh.
that we had Dad to help us stay on the beaten path instead of arguing the whole time.
Yeah.
I still love the concept for that character being, anyone remember that Old Republic trailer where the guy just charges a Sith Lord with a combat knife? Yeah, that's the character I want to
when
make.
he fucking linebacker trucks a Sith Lord.
Yeah, like, see, like that, and that's actually how I make characters. I see a concept, a character being that stupid, and then just go from there. And sometimes it's a mechanical concept, sometimes it's just a personality trait. Leah's obsession with the restoration of knowledge and, preserving it for the ages, stuff like that. And then playing that out and having other characters interact with those, either the major flaws that the character has and how they react to it and the like. When Zephyr was just like, oh man, Leah's found out that I fucked up the thing that she wanted to study. How am I gonna get myself out of this one?
That was a good moment when Zephyr was like, I have to do this, but also, who boy am I gonna be in trouble?
Like,
Mom's
exactly.
gonna kick my ass.
I do love.
I'm not gonna get dinner for the next week.
I love so much that at no point did Zephyr be like, Django can rectify, like, he can back me up. Never once did he open his mouth. And I was like, well, Django has no reason to back you up. You haven't brought him into the conversation. He's like,
Look, he was under a lot of pressure. He wasn't thinking of it at the time.
I'm sure, but it's that thing where he's like, I can't believe that you left me out to hang like that. I'm like, no, Django doesn't see it that way. He just sees it as, this isn't my conversation to have. Like,
yeah.
Django's being a Django logical brain, really fucking Zephyr over in that case.
It's happened multiple times. A lot of people's character quirks have fucked over Zephyr multiple times.
And I can't wait to see the next way that Zephyr gets fucked over.
Well,
I
Sam,
sure hope it.
Sam,
Yeah,
Sam, I was gonna ask the same thing of you that I said to Matt. I was gonna be like, what was a specific moment? But
oh yeah,
you kind of
no,
just
I know, I got plenty. I mean, there was the time in the ancient Jedi temple where we ended up fighting the Sith man lord thing. I don't even know what he was. Inquisitor.
He was an Inquisitor.
Okay, yeah. So like the sheer we have to escape, and each of us trying so many different things to get out of there. As frustrating as it may have been in the moment, it was super memorable. That entire area, that planet, was extremely memorable because it was just like, wow, I just realized that Lynn and Leah are basically in character.
A little bit.
Similar energy, yeah.
Also start with L.
Yeah.
That's not okay. Look, that's not. You can't bring that one in.
Look, I'm not. Look, it's good you say that, Sam. You're warming the cockles of my soul a little bit, because that whole planet was, because for those who know anything and or give a shit about Star Wars, the planet they went to was shit. I'm blanking on the name. Isaiah, help.
I don't know, but
the one that they built Starkiller Base into.
Oh,
yeah.
Ilum, thank you. I knew it was started with an I. Yes. So the planet they went to was Ilum, which in Star Wars lore is very important to like Jedi history and shit, as well as the thing that eventually got built into Starkiller Base in Episode 7. So like I wanted going to that planet to be an important thing. So it's good that it sticks in your brain. I like that. Mission accomplished.
Yeah.
Warms
also,
the cockles.
back to the Lynn and Leah being the same character. Lynn actually cares about his friends. Leah's just kind of whatever. She cares, but like not in the same way.
Fair enough. That's fair enough.
Lynn being a historian, Leah being like, yes, knowledge,
So
all of it.
To slightly translate,
like
it sounds like
historians.
what you're saying, Sam, is the thing that really like pushes the serotonin button, because I guess that's the phrase we're going to keep using, is when you have a specific quirk about your character that becomes relevant to the plot or the moment or other characters' stuff. When it comes up in a way that feels satisfying.
I mean, I like to call those character moments.
Right, yeah, it's the scene in the movie where the main character's trauma like comes up finally and everyone else just like has to talk about it. And like that kind of satisfaction. That's sort of an energy.
Yeah, when Tanjiro had to deal with his trauma of losing his family during Demon Train.
Right, yeah. I mean, which is also a thing that appeals to me.
I would hope so. I mean, it's the pinnacle of role-playing right there, is when the thing finally comes to fruition, you know?
Yeah, I think the funny thing is, though, for me, it doesn't need to necessarily be It
I
doesn't.
mean, it doesn't need to be a quirk or a character flaw or anything. It's
Yeah.
just when the relationship has hit a point where characters will react to certain things and other characters doing it a specific way because that's the relationship. You know,
It doesn't even need to be important for me, right? Like
no,
that's
it doesn't
the
need to be important either. You know,
Yeah, the whole bit between Pause and Zigzags about the coffee was like
I like
that's my favorite.
that.
It was a great bit.
I think it's like the big moments, right? Like the big character relevant moments are obviously they're very satisfying because it feels like yes, this is like a culmination of things of things that have been in the making for a very long time. But I always feel like I enjoy the smaller moments more, just because they feel more natural, right? You know, if your backstory is my name is Inigo Montoya, you killed my father, prepare to die. You know that's going to happen at some point, right? Because I mean, you don't know, but assuming that you're
It
playing in a long-form
should at some
campaign,
point.
it should come up.
Yeah, it should.
But small moments of Ro and Lynn sort of coming together after they've been butting heads for months at this point. And Lynn being like, I know that this is a test for you, but you need to calm down. Think about what you learned. Think about the basics of the Force. You can figure this out. I trust in you. Or, you know, Pause and Zigzags getting into a massive argument the day before, and the next morning he's like, all right, so this coffee shit, is it all like, what is this? What is this about? Like, what is this shit? And he's like, all right, well, do you want some? You can have some. And like that, this weird love-hate relationship they've built over the fact that coffee is amazing. But also, like, they don't even want to look at each other while they're enjoying the coffee. It's like, don't talk to me.
The
You don't
journey
exist.
to
The
the
only thing that exists is
destination as
coffee.
What was that?
I'm sorry.
The journey to the destination as well. I mean, I hate that phrase being used repeatedly.
Right.
It like genuinely is the story that you tell together.
Hold on. Wait a minute. Wait a goddamn minute. Did we all just circle around back to the same conclusion?
Yes.
Hi.
Did
Always.
all four of us just circle to the same conclusion?
Me
Yeah, because that's
sitting
what
here.
role-playing
Who
games
said
are
that
about,
thing?
really.
I'm just
God,
waiting.
Shut up, Matt.
Fucking all right. Listen, fuck off, Matt.
I was
listening. I'm
I
like
was
doing the oh fuck. I'm doing like the finger like Mr. Burns. Excellent. Yes.
Oh, I thought you were doing the Leonardo DiCaprio pointing meme.
Oh, I mean that one works too.
Wait.
I mean,
No, I wasn't shocked. It was me going, yes. I've twisted them into my thinking.
I twisted me into your thing, Matt. I was agreeing with you the whole time, but just didn't say anything.
Son of a bitch.
I was trying to be more.
Wow, I was getting lambasted. You just sat there.
I wasn't lambasted.
Yes,
I mean, I kind of
did.
was. I kind of was.
Yes, you were.
Yeah.
All I was saying was be more specific.
No, I don't think I will.
No.
Yeah, I guess we did. At the end of the day, we all came to a similar conclusion with a couple of extra bonus add-ons.
We did.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think
Yeah,
for
some
me,
of us like going sicko mode.
Right.
Yeah. Well, like again, for me, like the thing that I really like the most is the minutia of the character. Like, what does a character like to eat? What do they like? What's their favorite song? What are some songs or what feeling that like represents the character? That's the thing that I really like, and I like it even more when it pairs with the mechanics. Right? Like if you're playing a bard
Yeah.
who like
Yeah.
their whole thing is that they just have the world's greatest clapbacks, and then you go into eloquence bard where you literally have an ability that should basically just be called clapback because it's all it is.
Yeah.
When you can have a mechanical benefit to doing the thing that your character really gives a fuck about, that's the shit that I'm super into, because it feels like you're like optimizing your game experience.
Right. You're optimizing the role play. You're optimizing the role play and the mechanics as they come into a perfect harmony, and then you cream yourself a little. You know,
Yeah, a little bit, just a little,
just a smidgen, just a smidgen, just a little.
Yeah. So, but like those are the things that really like get me. Like, you know, the inter-character moments are like a very close second, I have to say.
Yeah, that's funny. It is kind of funny that none of us said combat, and I think amongst
why.
us, I probably like combat the most amongst the four of us. I don't
I
know.
would say we're probably tied for that because like, don't
Me
get
or
me, like,
Isaiah. Yeah.
I love big numbers. I
Right,
will
yeah.
always play the DPS. This is the second time as Django that I'm not being a DPS. I think I've
Right.
only ever done not big dick damage twice, and one was the Summoner Wizard, and the other right now is Django. So That's always been a thing for me. It's just I like to see I like to do the simple maths.
I think
Yeah,
that's so
I mean,
funny,
for me, it's
considering
funny. The numbers are.
I'm just trying to I think I've played combat characters 3 times. Oh no.
Yeah, I mean, having run almost every game you've been in, you played. So L was kind of a combat character, but kind of.
I mean, he was designed to be sort of.
He
but
was.
he ended up doing the most.
But he was a
damage.
sniper, which is different, kind of, right? It's not a traditional sense of the word combat character. Potaman was
Yeah,
definitely
I
a
guess.
combat character,
Oh yeah.
obviously. It's kind of all I can. I mean, Leah is just by virtue of being a D&D 5e character where everyone's a combat character, but like that's not her.
I mean,
That's not her
Leah also
sole purpose.
has also just become damage.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. Just by virtue of the mechanics of 5e, it's kind of hard not to be a combat character. But conceptually, she is not a combat character, so that one's kind of whatever. But yeah, I mean, Gear in Apocalypse World was not. Leo was not. Hugh was
Poor character.
not.
I almost always play smart characters, which is funny.
Yeah. It's kind of funny. You know, combat is. For me, I don't even care about the numbers. I just like I just like the chess mind games of it. But I will say 5e combat is fine. Not my favorite for sure. I liked the tactically board game-ness, but 5e is a pretty pared down version of it. So like at a certain point, I definitely stopped caring, you know.
Well, I think it depends on the character that you play.
It does, but it's nothing compared to like Pathfinder, for example.
Well, no,
Or at
true,
least
but
first
like
edition Pathfinder.
you can
I don't know about
Dear
You can-
Lord.
you can certainly approximate it. Like I've had Pause was a great example, right? Pause did like 2d8 plus 1d6 plus 3d4 plus 1d6
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
plus 15.
But that doesn't tickle it for me so much.
I get
For me, I don't know about you, but it doesn't for me really.
So I think then, what about Django then? Right? Django is basically a fucking 14 character right now because he has like basically rotations that I go through.
Yeah.
So do you like that aspect of it more? Like I have my bread and butter combos.
I like that. I will say watching you play Django has made me interested in Armor Artificer because I like that you have options and you don't tend to have there is not a 100% this is the optimal path every time. I mean, a lot of the time there is, and that's just kind of because that's how 5e is. But like you have options, right? The main reason I always shit on fighters so much in 5e and I fucking hate playing fighters is because there's no options. You're always doing the same thing. You have no other reason to think about anything else. It's very rare that you need to think outside the box. And some DMs penalize you for thinking outside the box, which is a whole other thing. But I think so I like having options, but I think the thing that I really like that 5e does not cater to in any fashion is I like my thinking as a player to be then translated through the lens of my character to then translate into an advantage of some fashion. So like, for example, if I'm playing Dungeon World, right? And I'm engaging like 3 orcs. For those who haven't played Dungeon World, it does not work like Dungeons and Dragons. There's no turn orders, there's no grid. It's all theater of the mind style. You describe everything you're doing, and if your fictional positioning, which is to say like what your character is doing in the fiction, is strong enough, you can sometimes avoid rolling completely. So like if I'm playing Dungeon World and I'm engaging like 3 orcs and they're coming at me, and like I'm playing like, I don't know, a fighter or some shit, doesn't really matter, and I'm in like the forest and I say to the GM, is there a log nearby? And the GM's like, sure, yes. And I'm like, all right, cool. I'm gonna kick the log to trip all of them, like roll it under their legs and trip all of them. And then as they drop, I'm gonna try and like run by and take a swing at all of them. D&D, that would be a situation where the GM would be like, okay, maybe do you have to athletics roll to kick the log? And then, okay, and then you have this much movement left, so you could probably go to here, and right, you gotta do all this stuff. Dungeon World's like, cool, maybe you have to make like a defy danger roll, you kick the log, cool, run in, do some damage, maybe you make a hack and slash roll, maybe you don't, depending on the scenario. And like, my thinking is rewarded, and as opposed to, and that game actively discourages you from just saying, I run up and attack. Dungeon World, in fact, tells you never to just say, I run up and attack. So that's when things get interesting for me. And that's when, and 5e, those moments happen, but they're usually not in combat. They're usually outside of combat. It's a high action scenario, but it's not strictly combat. It's a chase, or like you're trying to grab something. The two people are trying to grab something in a room. Like, actually, great example. Something that was a really fun thing to do or to run in our current campaign is when Kai snuck into the room while he was invisible with the hand and he was trying to steal his stuff. That whole back and forth was great because it was kind of combat-y in the sense of tension and there's stakes and stuff, but it was not strictly just grid-based combat. So yeah, it's like options and the ability to mess with things and like to kind of shuffle things up was what I'm looking for.
Versatility?
Versatility, but like the ability to, I don't know, ruffle feathers? What's the word I want to say? To like mix it up, I guess.
I don't know. I mean, like,
Give me my high-low mix-up so I can go for an overhead into a low and then go for the grab. And then if you don't go for the grab, I'm going to go for the dust, which I'm then going to...
This boy wants his Gatling combos. Oh, no.
For the internet, I play a lot of fighting games. Really like fighting games.
One could say it's his favorite genre.
Well, so, it's funny because I know there are some characters, some players that I know will do that for me when I'm running games like 5e. I'm going to be referencing 5e mostly because this happened very recently. I ran a one-shot. And Cardell specifically, who's someone that we are friends with, like I trusted him to constantly just try shit that I was not ready for. And like the mechanics didn't support at all, but like that's
right. That's
fine.
The thing that's frustrating with 5e, right? There's a lot of people want to do that, and the game is kind of like, Out
of fear for this becoming the mechanics don't support it, so like it's not very successful. I agree, but like it's cool to just try shit. But like I knew that.
No, I'm not saying don't try it.
No, I know, but like it always seems to happen in conversations like these, and I'm not like calling anybody out specifically, where it's, well, I do this thing, and then it's, well, you do it, but how successful is it? Because it's not hard coded. He was like, can I jump on the monster's arm and sort of like Shadow of the Colossus it? Can I try to blind the creature? Can I try to, like, if I blind the creature, can I stop the creature's eye rays and shit like that? And I had told the other players, is this even a tangent, or am I just saying, I don't even know. Fuck me.
I don't know. We've slided into a slightly different zone, but
a little bit, yeah. I understand what you're saying, and I agree. There's not a whole lot of ability to think outside of the box with combat unless you force hard-coded things into it, like the weapon options from the Midgard Heroes book, or shit like called shots, which I know is pretty divisive, but I think it brings something interesting to the table. The best, okay. Quick aside, I think the best version of a called shot I've ever seen is it's a GM binder lingering injuries table I use that lets you take a feat, which I ignore. I just say that it's a permanent feature where if you have advantage on something, you can swap that out for disadvantage, and if you still hit, you can apply a lingering injury based on a D10 dice roll. That way you can have some sort of mechanical advantage to taking disadvantage that you will see results to. But it's not just I go for headshots every single time, because that really is what people end up going for, unless you're creative and you're like, I sweep the leg, Johnny,
Well, also the other argument against called shots is that the game assumes your character is always making the best possible shot that they could ever make, so why would you make a mechanic out of it, like that kind of thing?
Yeah.
Like, you're always going to shoot for the head if you can, so why wouldn't you? So you don't need a mechanic. It's like a whole...
Yeah.
I will say too is the idea of like the other problem with trying to do fancy shit in 5e, and not just 5e, but a lot of games that use the 5e style of combat, which is to say on a grid, turn initiative, very strict targeting ranges and spell ranges and all that stuff. Any games that do that, so like Pathfinder or Shadowrun has some of this going on, anything along those lines. The problem is that doing the fancy shit is often so suboptimal that you're better off just hitting them with your goddamn sword.
It's true.
To the point where it's like, yeah, you might have done a thing that's cool, but you also, because you tried to like trip the monster, trip's in the game, so maybe I shouldn't say that. Because you tried to like jump on the monster's arm and like cut an eye stalk off, now the combat's taking longer because you did a thing that's really, really suboptimal because the game doesn't support the thing you were trying to do. So the GM had to come up with stuff on the fly, and because he came up with it on the fly, it's only going to be so good, and like then you get into that whole thing. That's the other problem, is like you're trying to think of these. So it's like really what the game should do, or what games should try to do, is build in ways that doing the non-standard action has major benefit. Like that's the part where it starts to get interesting. If you say, And some monsters in 5e do have this, actually. There are some monsters where it will specifically say, if you do this specific thing, it will impede the monster in this fashion. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, doesn't the Beholder specifically call out that you can cut the eye stalks off in its stat block?
I don't believe, I can check, but I don't believe so. I like things like the Hydra have that in it.
Yeah, so I know the Hydra does. Yeah, the Hydra specifically says you can cut the heads off, and I forget exactly what effect it has, but it does do stuff.
I think
like,
trolls also have that same thing.
Trolls have regeneration, so.
Yeah, trolls have, that's actually, here, that's a great, so trolls and revenants, this is a great one, right? Trolls can die, but the revenants do not die unless you hit them with fire or radiant damage. If you don't have fire or radiant damage, now you have to start thinking. And you thinking outside of the box in that scenario is not suboptimal because you have to, right? You don't have a choice. It's the only way you can kill the revenant. We don't have any fire or radiant damage, so we're going to have to light a torch and like shove it up his ass to light him on fire or whatever, you know, like whatever it is.
Well, trolls also have the ability that you can add it. I think it's a variant ability that, like, if you hack off a limb, the limb is now a separate monster that you have to deal with as a player. And it's like, oh shit.
Right, but is there a benefit to hacking off a limb?
No, I think it's like, I'm going to look up the monster. But it's basically, the thing is now you're adding another threat. That's the thing. Where it's like, if I keep attacking the troll, I'm just making more enemies to fight. God damn.
Right, well, see, that's what I'm saying, though, is like, if there's no benefit to doing it, then the players aren't going to do it, and then it's not going to happen, so there's no point in making a mechanic around it. The reason that the, like, cutting the Beholder eye stalks off is a cool idea for a mechanic is because, like, there's benefit to it, because you limit what they can do, potentially. Maybe that's, like, a variant rule itself. So I could have sworn that was a thing in their stat block, but I guess...
You might be thinking of, I know Krakens have that with their tendrils.
Yeah.
You can, like, chop the tendrils off so they can't grab you anymore.
Right, yeah, that one I knew about. And that kind of thing is something I think definitely 5e should do more and would help the combat feel really cool. Although you also can't overuse that kind of thing, right? Like if every monster has a special gimmick you have to deal with, that shit gets annoying quick.
Yeah.
But like, you know.
Fucking like the Bulazao or in the Babaus.
Bulazao.
Yeah. A lot of con checks that day.
Man, you have to make a con check again? Oh man, another con check. How about 2 con checks?
I'm sorry, I didn't realize.
That's the poison goat thing, right?
It's a loaded scenario.
Stinky goat.
Yeah.
Stinky goat, man. I think, versatility and options, I think, is the 2 big things that can really add to combat. And I don't know. We'll see what happens with 5e Redux Advanced Enhanced whatever edition and what they do with monsters and the multiverse book and all that stuff. And also, I'm going to be very interested to see if the Dark Souls RPG does anything with that kind of combat stuff, because
I feel like
that'll be interesting.
They have to in some instances. Because there's so much of that does play a part in Dark Souls if you played the games. Like a big rule of Dark Souls is cut the dragon's tail off, because not only will you limit their ability to fight you, but you'll usually get a weapon or a boon or something out of it. Or, you know, plunging attacks, like taking advantage of your surroundings to get an extra attack off, or things like kicking, right? Like a big thing in the 3rd game is kicking, and you can kick people off of platforms and they can die from falling damage. You know, power stancing or weapon arts, if you have certain weapons, they do like specific special abilities, shit like that. They have to. If they don't, I'm going to be really let down, but it's based on 5e, so like they're automatically limiting themselves in what they can accomplish with it. And I hope it's good. I do. I really want it to be good, because Dark Souls is probably, like, I'm really on the fence about this, but I feel like Dark Souls is probably my favorite game series ever. I want that game to be great, but I am cautiously optimistic about it.
Yeah. At least it's not from like a studio with no history and pedigree.
It's true.
Anyway, this is weird. Woo! Topic.
Yeah. Oh god, we brought up Monsters in the Multiverse, and I just think about the dread that I feel when that book comes out.
Hey, it might not be.
I mean, it technically is out.
It's not that it's bad. I just feel like the lack of, the revisions to the lore of, I'm getting on a soapbox now. It's fine, I'm doing this. The revisions to the established lore are kind of a problem for me, because I think I'm one of the few, maybe not the few people, but I really like a lot of the older established lore for Forgotten Realms. I like
You're
that.
definitely not few.
Yeah,
case.
like I like Lizardkin specifically. Like I like how alien they are. I like that they're like fucking Vulcans from Star Trek, right? Like they're just so objectivist, and they're like, oh, one of our people died, well, that's lunch tomorrow, right? I like how alien they are, and how you literally can't put yourself in their mindset, and you have to because you're a human playing a not human, so you're gonna have to try. In an ideal world, they're so different. So the fact that they like don't have you can scrimshaw weapons from the bones of your enemies or allies, that like bugs me. Like a lot of the cultural stuff that they're removing really bugs me, because it added so much interesting flavor to the races and like the other creatures of the setting. And when people say just it doesn't matter if they take it out, just put it back in, that's not the point, right?
Yeah, it's kind of a half-ass answer.
It's like a non-argument, because I don't care about my homebrew setting. I don't care about your homebrew setting. What I care about is the Forgotten Realms setting, because it's such a good setting and it has such interesting history. And yes, I know there's some problematic shit going on. I get it. I'm not saying that shit doesn't need to be revised, because it does. I actually, I know I'm not alone in this. I know Matt really likes the Drow lore. I like the idea of the Drow lore, and I know that it has gone in some directions, or it is
weird places sometimes.
It goes into some weird
Very
places.
weird.
But the idea of it, of like this matriarchal society where they are corrupted by an evil god throughout their lifetimes and throughout the generations to be predisposed to evil, and they can be better if you just remove them from that environment, right? I really like the idea of that. Maybe they didn't implement it the best way that they could have, but it also is a product of the time. And if they wanted to change that, right? I know in one of the, maybe it was a Sage Advice Compendium where they were like, well, actually, a lot of the Drow don't even know that Lolth exists. That doesn't make any sense, because the established lore says the exact opposite. Lolth is everywhere in Menzoberranzan based on the older editions. If they wanted to be like, well, Lolth is less important, we're trying to move away from the crazy backstabbing, stereotypical Drow, there are avenues that they could have taken to do that. Like they could have, like Illustri, right? Like the good Drow goddess. They could have been like, oh, well, her faction is gaining some momentum in Menzoberranzan. So there's this sort of like subterfuge going on, this sabotaging of the cult of Lolth that makes her less important. Had they just like, maybe I kind of want them to 40K it, right? Like I want them to just sort of advance the settings timeline a little bit, and then use the advancing of the timeline to explain the changes. I would have liked that more than just being like, it doesn't exist anymore, it's whatever you want it to be. It's like, well, no, we're gonna experience these things hopefully in games like Baldur's Gate, right? Like the kobolds being like a cowardly chihuahua-like race, we're probably going to experience that, and I want to experience that. But if you take away the origin of it, if it's like, well, why do they act like this in the game, but they're not, there's no rules that support that they do this in the rules, why is that happening? Like I want that to stay. And I'll be very sad if they remove the cower, beg, and whatever the hell that kobolds have, because I love that so much.
They did.
Oh my god.
They get one sorcerer spell now.
No, fuck that.
Or
I
tool
like that
proficiency.
You could have done it. Maybe they could have changed the flavor of it, right? Not like cower, beg, and whatever, but just be like distracting.
They have something like that.
Do they? Do they still have something like that?
So they don't have pack tactics anymore, but they do have an ability that they can do like grovel, coward, beg, that grants advantage to basically everybody around you.
Okay.
I don't remember. I'm going to look up the mechanic right now, just so I'm not talking down my ass. But
I'm going to pull a Donald Glover like Lando Calrissian, where it's like, I don't like it, I disagree with it, but I accept it. You know what I mean? Like as long as we have something in the vein of that, I'm fine. Because it does sort of change. I'm sorry that I've gone on this soapbox for like 10 minutes now.
I was gonna say, we've gotten into a wildly different place topic-wise.
I know, this is a whole other topic. I didn't mean to do this.
We were talking about having fun, playing characters.
Well, I just want to throw in just one little bit.
Characters.
I know. I didn't mean to do this. Like, it really, I'm into like a fugue state at some point.
I just want to mention one thing, because don't quote me on this, but I think with all the changes going on and the high response from Critical Role and some of the other like setting books and stuff coming out, I think and also because money, I think within the next, 5EE or whatever the next thing coming out.
5E Enhanced Extra Turbo Ultimax Edition? Yeah.
That's right. I think they're actually going to try and step away from the Forgotten Realms being the main setting of D&D. I think they're just going to be like, any adventure is going to be placed wherever you want. Place, do whatever. It doesn't matter. They're going to try and do it so they want you to like place this in your homebrewed world or just make up a world and place it in there. And it's like, no,
I don't like that. I don't want that to happen.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, I do want them to hit other settings though. Like
funny you mentioned that, Matt, because a lot of people have pointed out that 5e very specifically decoupled itself from like setting material in a way that a lot of older editions were really like setting books and like setting information and setting material that was the money maker for older editions. And 5e really pulled away from that, especially in the beginning. Well, but then they kind of came back, but they're still not as much as they were, Well,
so here's the thing, with every adventure book that came out, it was also a setting book, and it's still like that nowadays. Like Icewind Dale is technically a setting book for Icewind Dale.
But they don't, so like the
Out of the
player's
Abyss is
handbook
a setting book for the Underdark. It's
right, but
all
like,
of them do this.
The player's handbook does not call out the setting or make comments or say, doesn't strictly say any, like, this is the setting, this is the rules. Well, like, they really tied themselves away from that with
kind of, but like, if you look at like the multiverse and deity section, the first gods you see in the player's handbook are the Forgotten Realm one.
No, I know. I understand that. So, I'm just saying the older editions of D&D, I've seen people bring this up multiple times, videos and shit. The older editions of D&D were very firm about how like important and how everything was tied to the setting and everything. Whereas 5e didn't do a lot. And I think that's why a lot of people are having some more aggressive reactions, is because it almost feels like 5e's ignoring all the setting material stuff. They're trying to have their cake and eat it too, because they're releasing setting books, but they're also not strictly being like, this is the setting.
Well, I guess it depends on, like, because like most of the stuff that I'm seeing is there are still a lot of setting stuff, but then when it comes to certain things, like,
it's about how I understand that it exists, Matt, and this is my point. It's about how they present it. They're not presenting it. The old method was, this is the setting, this is the rules, this is the story, this is how it goes. The new method of the way they're doing it is, here's some setting stuff if you want, but you don't have to. It's okay. You can do whatever you want. They're being very loosey-goosey, trying to have their cake and eat it too about the whole situation.
And a lot
which
of
I think is probably why people are annoyed.
Right. And a lot of it too is also kind of Spark Notes version of like
that's what I mean.
Settings.
They're not being firm. They're just sort of keeping everything open.
Right. I think they want it to be so people can.
We should probably bookend this for another time.
Right.
Okay. I kind of wanted to continue this next episode, but
we probably should bookend this. It's like, this is a whole other thing. But yeah, because I mean, we could go deep on this.
Very deep. It'd be a whole episode, maybe even two.
Oh snap!
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
One last thing before we bookend this is that I kind of wish they would go a little harder into the specific setting-based adventures, because I feel like there's a lot of untapped potential there that I want to try to explore.
That's what I'm saying.
And you have no
people. Ooh, excuse me.
Like,
that's what I'm saying. A lot of people are feeling that way.
We're doing that now.
Because I think about it this way,
kinda.
Right? Descent into Avernus, I think, is a perfect example of this, right? Where it's like, you could have released a Plains of Hell setting book that may have done like okay, but the fact that you've like tied a story into Bator that brings you there, it gives you characters and it gives you a reason to interact, maybe not care about them, but to interact with them,
to give some kind of a shit.
Like if there was like, if Mad Maggie, who again I will always gush over because she's my favorite, if she was like a little footnote at the end of one page at the end of a map that was like, oh yeah, this weird Mad Max hag lady is here. Cool, but a lot of people are probably going to miss that unless you're going to read every single page and make sure that you're copying it all down. But when they're like, there's this really cool character who's literally just Max Rockatansky from Mad Max, but like evil and a hag, and she exists in hell. You're like, whoa, what the fuck? That's awesome. I want to go, I need to find her. She's sick. The campaigns that take place in the settings give you a reason to give a shit about the settings.
Correct.
And I want more of that because I know nothing about like Greyhawk and the wherever hell Dragonlance takes place. And I want to give a fuck about Eberron, but I just don't. And I've tried, but like I feel like if there's no adventure tying me to Eberron, I'm not going to care as much.
Right. Well, that's why they have now in the Eberron book, there is a level 1 adventure in there, which is it's pretty good. It's a pretty good one, and it's held in their version of Waterdeep, which is a big metropolis city. So it's there you go. You're in the big like throw of it of Eberron. But they are doing that kind of now with what's the new Critical Role, the Netherdeep book. It's the Critical Role book. It's set in Marquette, and
I'm sorry. I just in the back of my mind, I know it's Netherdeep, but I always in my head say Neverdeep, and I'm like, no, that's not correct. That's not what it's called. You fucking moron.
You might be mixed up with like Neverwinter for some.
I
or something.
probably am. Yeah. They're very similar in name, at least in my brain. They are.
Yeah, but I guess they're doing that now because it's like here's the setting and then here's the adventure that goes along with that. But I mean, again, I feel like the
Where
other
are we going
adventures
with this?
I don't know.
Nowhere, literally nowhere.
We're just talking.
Here,
We're just talking.
Isaiah,
We're just talking about it.
Isaiah, you did it again. You took us into a completely different topic in the last 20 minutes. Stop it.
Brett just pinged up on Discord as being online. As far as I'm aware, his like bio just says a Weezer fan in parentheses derogatory. I love that shit so much.
Can we even loop it back to the
So,
original?
Sam, your thoughts on Wizards of the Coast ruining 5e? How do you feel?
Don't say that. That's not true.
You want my thoughts? No. He wants my thoughts.
Characters are fun to play. Whee!
I was literally
here's a way to
just
bring it back.
Oh my god.
Yes, okay. Go ahead, Isaiah. You're the host.
Sorry,
Bring us all back.
Sam was really quiet, and I only registered that he was talking like halfway through my sentence.
No, it's fine. It's all right. I was just gonna say that if you're not enjoying the character that you're playing, then I don't know how to help you fix that. But role playing is about really enjoying your character.
Big character interact moments.
Yeah, finding a character that you mesh well with as a player, and then meshing them with the other players. Sometimes it's not you. Sometimes it's your group.
Have your Trevor to your Alucard, you know?
Yeah. I mean,
Have your Tanjiro to your Zenitsu and Inosuke. It's important.
Yeah. Find your fellow goobers, you know?
I love that.
And I know you do.
I do sort of have a way of looping back the previous subject. You know, when you can create a character that feels at home in the game that you're playing in, that's very like... So like Josh, your setting is a little harder to ground yourself in because it's specific time period. It's not just like generic fantasy kind of medieval Europe, but literally could just be wherever the fuck and whenever the fuck.
True.
There's a little bit there, but there's also like it's more interesting to find your niche in that universe, being like, you know, what Django being basically the weird Magitech version of a Spartan, because I kind of like
almost literally.
Yeah, well, like a part of Django is like the character that he will develop into. I definitely was Leonidas, sort of. I think that will, in tandem with creating a character that you like and being able to do things that you like to do, I think that sort of elevates it just that one step further into being like a very, very memorable game.
Yeah, it's the thing where you're what's an IP I could use? It's that thing where you're playing in like a Lord of the Rings game and your character is like, oh, you're like the second cousin of Aragorn. You like tie yourself in really deep so that it all feels more impactful. Which that was a weird example, but
well, here's a good right. So like, you know, my character in the Star Wars game that we played was a Jedi, right? Like, or was a Jedi in training specifically. The fact that my character,
we have a word for that, Isaiah.
Well, yeah, but he wasn't a Padawan because he didn't have a master. He's just like. It was his dad. Sort of, yeah, but like he fucked off. You know, like his dad didn't fuck off. His dad said, "Don't you dare fuck off," and then he fucked off anyway.
Son, I'm going to get space cigarettes. Never shows up.
Yeah,
no, it was the other way around. The son went to get space cigarettes and then never came back. Also, Matt, they're called death sticks. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, true. They're called
That's not
Destinies.
as
Just
cool.
like how the music is called
You
Jizz.
fucking what, mate?
Yes,
Please,
yes.
please, God, I didn't want to think. I was hoping.
Hey
no one
Josh,
was
you
gonna bring
remember
that
the
up.
10 hours of jizz we would listen to in art
Yes.
school?
Yeah,
Good times.
I do.
Good times. That song's forever burned into my skull.
What?
and I
Fucking
love
Mos
it.
Eisley?
Yeah.
I'm crying. So in universe, my Jedi character met Luke Skywalker, which was like the coolest moment for me.
That's
But-
cool. That's pretty sick.
If my character was like, I'm Scrimblo Bimbo, the famous Scrunko, because I'm gonna just use that tweet that I saw forever ago because I love it so much. Such a good tweet. if I was just random fuckwit in the New Republic, I feel like I wouldn't have been able to enjoy the moments as well. Just Josh dying on his screen.
I'm dying. The Scrimbo Bimbo tweet kills me. It particularly kills me because the whole so for the internet's sake, me, Sam, and Isaiah all play Final Fantasy XIV, and in the most recent expansion, Endwalker, a lot of things got wrapped up. But also, they brought in a shitload of characters from every previous expansion. So I just kept making the joke over and over again. Where like, oh, it's Scrimbo Bimbo and his other friend, Scrimbo Bimbo. Because the randomest fucking background NPCs who you barely remember rolled up to be like, all right, we're here to help you kill God. And you're just like, where did you come from?
Wait, correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't that meme originally come from like people complaining about characters in Smash? Wasn't that where that?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
I saw it.
I believe the joke was someone making fun of people wanting Geno in Smash because they were like,
Yeah.
oh, Smash players really be like, I want Scrimbo Bimbo from this one game and this one Mario RPG that nobody remembers or whatever. Because I think they're making fun of people wanting Geno.
Yeah.
Because
Now,
not that many people know who Geno is.
This is a massive
Who
tangent
the
that we
fuck
have
is
gone on
Gino?
now.
Exactly, Isaiah. Exactly.
I don't play Nintendo games at all.
You know the
is
Super
the guy
Mario,
who
you know
loves Fire
the
Emblem.
Mario RPG game?
I did play that. So yeah.
Okay, he's a team member in that game.
He's the
Oh.
puppet.
I obviously
He's the
didn't get
puppet
that
guy.
far in that game then.
Yeah, he might be optional, I don't know. But he's from that game.
Pretty early, actually.
I don't fucking know. I've never
I-
played that game. I just know he exists.
Wow. Anyway, what a topic shift.
This is a good shift. I like this. Scrimbo Bimbo is my favorite.
I feel like that's a good sign that we have strayed so far
Gone too far.
away.
Gone too
That
far.
we need
Come
to-
back from
we
the
need
light.
to- every day we grow further from God's light.
Don't say that. Don't make that joke because I can only think of the fat rope joke and it makes me very stressed.
Okay, all right. That's the perfect place to end it. Let's leave that in obscurity forever.
Sure.
Hit like and subscribe on YouTube, baby.
Let's go, baby.
Leave a comment for the algorithm, bitch. Woo.
Oh my god.
I hate everything. Are we gonna press?
Don't forget to ding that dong.
Oh my god. Fuck you.
follow
But
us
yeah,
on the
we're
Twitter.
Comment in the doobly doo.
Are we
comment in
shouting
the
out
doobly-doo.
Twitters? Because we didn't shout out Twitter when I first asked.
The session's canceled Twitter, not our Twitters.
Bro, it's
Nobody
late.
needs to
Leave
follow
me
our
alone.
personal Twitters. Fuck
off.
outta here.
I'm sorry. But yeah, fucking follow us on Twitter, YouTube, and Spotify, wherever the hell podcasts are held. Damn. All right, well, everyone has stopped recording but me, I guess, so I'm going to just bring this one out. See y'all
Well, take us
motherfuckers
home,
later.
bud.
All right, this has been Sessions Canceled. See y'all next time.
Time for the
Bye.
jingle.
Don't you fucking dare.